We're going to talk about luxury. We're going to talk about the affluent. Name of the title of the speech is How to Leverage Luxury to Create a Sustainable Future. The affluent aren't all the same. And too often we think they are as if it's a monolith, but it's not. I'll give you a good example of that. If my clicker works. Microphone. Thank you very much. So you can never assume the rich are alike. For example, British gentleman born in 1948, married with children. Who's that? Prince Charles. But he's nothing like, who's that? You know him. He's a famous singer from the 70s. Cat Stevens. And he's nothing like Ozzy Osbourne. So as we think in terms of marketing to the affluent, we want to be really sensitive that they're all very, very different. And as marketers, in a category that's really about desire instead of need, it's important that we follow the laws of luxury, which will help us build that business. Luxury is a marketing-first category. Without marketing, you can't create desire. Versace, Gucci, Rolex, Hermes, Vuitton are all who they are because they are marketers first. And too often we think they just got there. But it's increasingly difficult to be a good marketer today because, frankly, print is going away, and marketing online is, although it's easy if you know how to do it, it's difficult. And the affluent aren't on Facebook, and they're not on places where people want to sell you stuff. It just doesn't work that way. I love this picture because to be really successful, you have to see the world in luxury. You have to see the world differently. And I hope we can touch on that a little bit. I'm going to share the handout on this if you leave your card. Also, I gave a presentation this morning. Happy to send that to you. Just leave your card. My cards are also up there also. So, there are three classes of people. Those who see, those are your best prospects. Those who see when they're shown, those are important prospects. And those who do not see, forget them. Right? That's the mass market. The first thing is your brand is sacred. Because what you're selling with luxury is your brand, not objects. Promote your brand, we're creating desire for the product. Now, you may say, well, Vuitton does this or Hermes does that. We're not Hermes, or we're not a passion product. We have to position ourselves as luxury, as something separate than what you may see in fashion. These are stars, and everything falls out of what we're going to talk about now, which is your marketing, your merchandising, your displays, everything. You name it, it falls out of these pieces. Now, I get a lot of people say, which is emotion, obviously. Brands are emotion. Without emotion and luxury, you have no luxury because you have to create that desire. How many of you are Levi's wearers? Anybody? Nobody wears Levi's here? Thank you. One. How about Wrangler? Are you a Wrangler? Who are Wranglers? If you wear Wrangler, how often do you wear Levi's? Never. Do Levi's wearers wear Wrangler? I don't think so. So what is it that has created these brands that you don't mix up the two? The answer is pretty simple. They have built something deeper in the brand that keeps you loyal. Now, here's another one. This is 7 for All Mankind. Any 7 for All Mankind wearers here? You are. Expensive. Good. Anybody else? 7 for Mankind. How much is a pair of 7 for Mankind? 150. Okay. Now, maybe a lot of you don't wear jeans, right? Or you won't admit to it. Or maybe you wear Do you recognize this brand? So we got, I don't know how much those are, but $100 some. And this is Rivet from Dollar Store. How many of you wear Rivet from Dollar Store? None of you are going to raise your hands because you wouldn't admit to it. See, the brands we have, whether it's mass or luxury, really do signify who we are. People like to say, I'm not affected by brands, but we are. Now, most of us in this, this is very odd because that doesn't match that. Whoops. So most of you in the tile business, well, how many of you consider yourself in the luxury space now? A lot of you do. Okay, good, good. Most stores, showrooms, in the stone and tile business are what we call premium. And with premium, we would say you compete, this is just as good as, but better, because you're hitting price. Luxury is, mine is from X country because you're using Italy as an example for why it's superior. Or mine is handmade. You heard Susan Brunstrom earlier, or Michelle, say, what is luxury? It's handmade, and it's correct because it brings value to it. Or mine is X brand. X brand could be, you name it. I'm not going to say because then I get in trouble. But the premium business is comparative because you're constantly comparing products. It promotes parity. Luxury is superlative. Luxury is prestige. Premium is parity. Luxury sells services in tile and stone. Luxury marketing drives brand desire. You spend all your time doing that because if they buy your brand, it doesn't matter what you sell them. Premium marketing is inbound, social media. How many of you are big with social media? You know, stop. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it helps. It's like vanity. Luxury marketing is outbound. You nail your best prospects. There are ways today. How many of you are using satellite technology? You can literally target any home. And let's say you want to target homes listed for sale. You look online, you know it needs renovated. You just send beams down to any person who walks in that house, and you'll hit the majority of them, and they'll become familiar with your brand. Because your biggest problem, whether we want to admit this or not, is brand awareness. People don't know you. It's just, we're not something. I don't know what I had breakfast yesterday. How am I going to know what I bought 10 years ago? We'll get into cognitive bias in a little bit. So premium is value engineered, trying to help customers save money. Luxury is always best product. Premium is fleeting and in style and perishable. Luxury is classic. Somebody wants something that might be out of style in 6 months, you can sell it, but it's not luxury. Premium is led by what client has, but luxury enchants. It enchants. So somebody comes in and says, I haven't seen this anywhere else. And that's very powerful because when they go home, what do they remember? What's special? What's different about your showroom than anybody else's? Because if you have the same stuff, if you have the same displays, if you look like a local yokel, you're just one of several. I implore you to think about how you can make your brand and how you edit your merchandising special. Premium, of course, is lower margin. Luxury is higher margin. Cost trumps design. This is really important. Luxury brands validate the cost. I learned earlier today that Hermes, 50% of their business comes from the Birkin bag. Now, think about that. They don't even show it in their store, but it's half their business. How can you create a iconic whatever that's so powerful that people don't need to see it, they just know of it? And that's marketing. And you can do the same thing so that when people want stone or tile or whatever you sell, there's just nobody else. You are of their ilk. And that's one of the keys. Next is, well, this is it. If you're the luxury space, you have no competitors because your showroom has something no other showroom has, and that's you and your brand. And without that, you're just like everybody else. You know, there's a sales to marketing continuum. And in the old days, when I first got into business, everything was about sales. I'm going to sell this, I'm going to sell that. But the truth is, the more sales driven you are, the lower margins you have because it's about sales. Marketing means higher margins, means more profit. Product focus is sales because how many of you have reps that walk into your store imploring your salespeople or manipulating, maybe another term, to sell something or another, right? Oh, this is the product knowledge on this, and this is whatever. That undermines your company. There's only one thing for them to sell. That's your brand. Because if they buy your brand, then you have them as a customer. Nothing else matters. And lastly, when it comes to marketing, if you remember nothing else, anonymity is bad strategy. And when you don't market, that's what you're giving people, anonymity. And that doesn't help you. I have no idea what the Kardashians do, but I see them so often, they must be good at it. And by the way, I looked into it. Who are these women? And I thought, you know, they're just brilliant marketers. And then I saw one of them on David Letterman's show and learned one was a lawyer. Pretty, at least this one, pretty smart cookie. But the most successful people always are. And those who are in luxury are the most successful. By the way, to that point, we have 3 firms that are luminaries in the business in the back. Perhaps take a moment if you want to chat with them. It is Studio Brunstrom. Susan, would you raise your hand? Susan is a luxury designer. All of them, by the way, luxury designers, celebrity designers, big names, and they do it effortlessly. Then we have Room Resolutions next to Susan from Las Vegas. And then next to them, next to Jane, we have Michelle Workman, who's in Chattanooga. Michelle Workman Home, Michelle Workman Interiors. This is as good as it gets. But they all follow a luxury business model instead of a design business model. And it's separated them and elevated them above all of their competition. And you can do the exact same thing. Because in the competitive market, the best marketer always wins. And this just happens over and over and over, and yet people are afraid to do it. You have to become a marketer. With luxury, you're not pushing products. You're pushing your brand. You're positioning it as the brand, and you do that in a myriad of ways, including, of course, graphics, everything else. I implore you to create a brand DNA that defines who you are. I worked with a company last year in Melbourne, Florida. They're spending all this time helping children that have been arrested and keeping them out of jail. Recidivism, I think is the term. And they're really into it. They're helping children throughout their community. So do you tell people? No. What do you mean you don't tell people? See, you don't sell to the affluent. You fascinate them and you match values. And that's really important because people want to buy from people they like. It's a great opportunity. Find out what's really important to you and your reason to exist. And that's a hell of a lot more saleable than tile or stone. Understanding the affluent is not easy because what matters to you and me doesn't necessarily matter to a high net worth individual. Community always matters. Being in a family, being into your family is really important. There's a thing called, in fact, 3 of the 4 back there, what's known as leaders in luxury and design. It's not about selling what you sell. It's about demonstrating you're a real down-to-earth person and what you do matches what matters to them. And that's what I want you to sell. It may be different from how you see people sell, but don't miss the opportunity to match values or at least be different in the market.
You know, a lot of people will tell you about the Dodge Durango's available Hemi V8 engine and 360 horsepower, but I'm the only one with the guts to tell you about the glove box. 0.1 cubic feet of storage, 12-volt light bulb, all in beautiful injection molded thermoplastic olefin. Comfortably fits 2 turkey sandwiches, 6 ball-peen hammers, 70 packs of gums, 20 rulers. This thing goes on for inches. Starting to get the picture? Oh yeah, this glove box I've been talking about? It comes standard.
So there's so many lessons in this ad. First off, it's different than any other car commercial, right? Secondly, he's identified something that's meaningful to us that we didn't know was meaningful to us. I recently bought a Jeep, and it has, of course, a glove box, but there's no lock on the glove box. And if you live in South Florida, you have to do valet parking all the time. I can't lock anything. So I missed that very basic piece, and you know, you can't overcome that. But find those pieces that matter. You know, in the old days, we talked about selling. We had to sell people. But today, there is this whole nother acquisition funnel. I have this set up so that, you know, you go from awareness, interest, consideration, intent, and acquisition. But in the old days, a decade ago, marketing was just for awareness and interest, right? And then the salespeople took over. And the salespeople took credit for it. And there's still plenty of people still stuck, certainly salespeople, because you can advertise and they won't give you credit for it, but it comes from them. Today's acquisition funnel is all marketing driven, because the moment somebody hears or says something different than what they believe you to be, you're lost. So you have to keep marketing, keep marketing. I have a client, very high level brand, and she markets to her past customers. Because as you know, the wealthy don't necessarily refer you. So what she does a project, and then she advertises to their home to make sure everybody who visits this individual to see their home knows which brand it is, just to keep the conversation going. Because people never really lose their values, no matter who they are. So we have to keep on top of that, because it's constantly changing. This is a quote from Regent magazine. The individuals seek balance in their life, not through status, but through experiences. So the experience is very important. Now, we have research that tells us status isn't important, but when you really study the affluent, status is extraordinarily important. So we can never forget that goes back to brand. And what does your brand represent? So you want it to represent status. You want it to represent being proud of what you've bought. We just participated in a podcast, and somebody said actually it was Susan Brunstrom, I know who said it, was about how home is defined differently today, because we work there, we live there, we eat there, we play at home more than ever before. Don't lose that change in how we perceive it. The affluent desire to be around others of their caliber. When they're looking at your marketing, they're not necessarily looking at the product. They're looking to see if you are of their ilk. Do you fit and do business and work for others who are like them? So it's not the specific product, it's the home, it's the magnificence of the home and the architecture, which is more attractive. By the way, it's easier to notice too. They are focused on future impact and luxury and legacy. So when somebody visits their home and they see the tile, people remember. I still remember the floor covering in the house I was raised in. And it was a beautiful 4-meter wide woven carpet. Still impacts me today. And they're also mature enough to recognize balance is key and everyone's full of crap. So that's why you have frequency and staying in front of people, because without that, it's very easy to lose them. sell the pillars of luxury when you're selling to high net worth individuals. And this is connoisseurship, being discreet in private. How many of you have a non-disclosure when you have a new client? Now, they may not require it, but by you saying you provide it, it tells you that you respect them and their ilk. Because we all have non-disclosures we sign. This is how you elevate yourself above your competition. Sophistication and grace. Live your life with sophistication and grace. Everyone respects those who are respectful and graceful. Next, you are a technology brand. Now, when I say that, you may not transact online, and I realize not many people do, but you compete online. And you have to do whatever it takes to compete effectively, which means using advanced technology to get people to your website. Very few customers don't visit your website. Got to get them there. Plus, it's measurable. Traditional selling and marketing are no longer effective. I think we know that, right? Part of Luxury Daily's research every year, which we co-sponsor, social media isn't working. Very few people are unhappy with it. There is one class of people who love social media. Do you know what that is? It's marketing agencies, because it's so profitable for them. They like social media, and they will sell you on it. But if you measure it, it doesn't stack up. And the research, I'm quoting the research, not my own anecdotal experience. Leverage satellite technology. Target your best prospects. I look at it as you want, maybe that's on the next slide, you want repetitive clients. You probably want interior designers, architects, property managers. You probably want those who are wrongfully shopping at your competitors' showrooms. You want to nail that. You want to target them. And you want to build a brand, what we call a brand blanket, those with capacity. So you get all three moving together, and before long, your business will be well known, and you'll get clients. And by the way, with technology, you can measure the people who walk in your own showroom. So it's not without proof that it's working. You connect emotionally. Whoops, I see a picture. You connect emotionally by matching values and fascinating them. We want them to like you. When someone walks in your showroom, your job is to make their day. Prove that you are of their ilk, and they will return. If you can do those things effectively, how often do you walk into a showroom or a store and they just tick you off? And I get that all the time. Make their day. Compliment them. Find a way for them to remember that really nice person who they met. You don't really sell the affluent. They choose to buy from you. So these behaviors are really important in ensuring that you are communicating and resonating with them personally in their heart. The wallet will come. Don Draper, you remember Mad Men, right? The greatest thing you have working for you, it's the imagination of the consumer. You can get into that space, your ad can run all day long. Now think about that differently. How do you get in their head? How do you get in their heart? If you tug on the wallet too early, you lose it. Tug on their heart, and they love you. It's just how it works out. I think, so product is secondary, brand is everything. Leverage advanced technology. Are you doing that or me? Okay. Planting seeds, luxury plant seeds. Hit active shoppers in competitor store. If you're not doing this and you're a retailer, you're not really competing. I mean, they're there. They're waiting to see your ads. They're interested. Advertise to them. Replicable clients, designers, architects, anyone who sells, landscape architects, that's easy. And build brand with those with capacity so they know you when it's time. That's what planting seeds is all about. You can hit homes listed for sale. You can hit design professionals with their name or with apps. You can hit houses based on children in the house. You can hit, what the value of the home is, how much equity. There's about 500 filters you can hit people with. Are they art collectors? What are they? You can nail them. And you can hit anyone, anywhere. Product is secondary. What most matters? Brand. Your brand. I hope that all of you will go home and think about that and start promoting your brand. Which means reallocating budget. I know, ugly. But you also have to increase your margins to make up for the advertising. The margins have to come from somewhere. We're business people, right? Showroom and merchandising. We'll do another continuum. Well, increase your margins 5 to 8% of revenue on marketing. Let's talk about showroom merchandising. If you have what everyone else has, why does it matter that you're even in business? Substantially reduce what you show. When you walk into a Louis Vuitton, do they have 1,000 bags? No. They have a selection specific to the point of view at the guy at the top, who theoretically is Louis Vuitton. If you show everything, you have become an agent of your suppliers, not an agent of your customer. Make shopping so easy that they come in and say, boom, that's what this company stands for. It's high quality, and that's what I want. Nobody enjoys a huge selection. But even more importantly, huge selections are online. Don't compete with an online retailer. You can't, right? They have no costs, or very limited costs. Next, display larger samples. Show fewer of the products, show larger samples. It separates you from the others. In the carpet business, they have gotten down to where they show these little 3x3 samples. It's like impossible to try to sell anything. But your suppliers are all trying to cut costs for displays. Don't go that direction. It's better to have one right stone or one right tile and show it than 9 too small to do squat with. Space has to reflect the sophistication and good taste. Is your lighting right? Are your displays your own, or are you using suppliers' displays? Because if you're showing all suppliers' displays, you know what it looks like. You look, one, like a local yokel, and 2, there's no continuity. It's terrible. It's ugly, and you're never going to get high net worth individuals there. I'm sorry, this is not together. We'll stick with servant. We are servants, not salespeople. We serve high net worth individuals. If someone is offended by the term servant, then they should stay in the mass business. We serve them in such a way that the business is, and I forget who said it this morning, frictionless. No problems. It just happens automatically because that's what the affluent expect. The affluent compare you not against your competitors. They compare you against their last stay at the Ritz-Carlton or Four Seasons. That's the standard for service, not what your competitors do. Because most in the tile business are very weak competitors. They're just in business by the pure entrepreneurial spirit that they have to feed their children next week. So they got in hustle and they sell, but a marketer can beat all that. And you can too. Retrain your staff to be servants. Retraining isn't easy, but there are ways you can do it that are meaningful.
Fall, and it'll be an exercise in building trust between one another. So Harrison, if you don't mind going first, step up here on this chair and close your eyes. All right, and then everybody fill in, and we're going to ask you to fall, and then they will catch you. So you have to trust us. So I'm going to count to 3, just relax and fall, okay? 1, 2, 3. No, wait, no!
You do have to give direction and guidance. But with all things, you have to give individuals guidance. something wrong in me that I enjoy that. Become an agent for your customers, for who you want to be in business. Identify them, mirror them, and just get started. Even if you're not a luxury showroom today, just get started. Create a plan where over 6 months you integrate it, how you think, you integrate how you market, how you merchandise, and you will get there. And you can't wait. You know the old saying, there are only 2 good times to plant a tree? One was yesterday, and the other was 20 years ago. So leave coverings. Buy to brands from different countries, because countries are brands too. Because we don't want you, with all due respect, to become Floor & Decor, which also means they should be a little better dressed. Remember jeans? Jeans should be unacceptable in a luxury store. You will see them at Lumber Liquidators. You will see them at Floor & Decor. And you'll see them at other down-market companies. But be better than everybody else. Be a little bit classier. Find ways to elevate your brand very obviously over anybody else. And if you do that, and if you follow the pillars of luxury, you will be extraordinarily successful. I will implore you at this point to think bigger, move faster. This is the way to go. We're very likely moving into a recession. I think we all see that today. Who ends up with money during a recession? The wealthy. Don't miss this market when they're the only place to be. Market more aggressively, adopt the pillars of luxury, create desire for your brand. Desire for your brand, and follow the laws of luxury, which was an earlier presentation for those of you who saw it earlier. Firms that leverage the luxury. I'm sorry, there was a second piece there. If you'd hit that. Go back a couple. Firms that leverage the luxury business model compete with no one, because it's your brand and it's you. And that's how you're going to grow your business. My name is Chris Ramey again. Website is Precise Luxury Marketing. If I can do anything for you, please let me know. If you leave your card up here, I'll make sure you get a copy of the presentations. And I thank all of you for being here. Thank you for being in Coverings too.